Yes, good evening everyone. We'll be starting shortly. Okay, welcome to the second session of the Vidusara Magic Bit IoT Challenge workshops. So today we are going to be talking about how you can develop a mobile application using this platform called Thunkable. Okay, so yeah, I'm Sahan Gunasekara from Magic Bit, and I will be your tutor for today, and we are going to be following the tutorial on how to build app using MagicBit. Okay, so what is Thunkable? Thunkable is a app development platform that you can use to build an Android or iOS app uh, within like very short time. So it's actually very easy to build your apps using Thunkable, and it's not just for like educational purposes only as well. It's actually a very established and very professional platform that even some big companies actually use to get their mobile applications out there. So if you are looking for an easy way to quickly develop a mobile application, Thunkable is the way to go. Okay, so first step you need to follow to start developing your applications using Thunkable is you need to go to the Play Store, or you need to go to the iOS store and download your app. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. What we need to do is go to the Play Store and search for Thunkable and download this app called Thunkable Live. So if you are an iOS user, you can also go to the App Store and search for Thunkable and install the application. So yes, next I will show you how to actually log into Thunkable using your PC as well. So once you download the application, it will direct you to a login page where you will have to create an account and log into Thunkable. But to log in, we are actually going to use the computer. So if you can go to, you can just search Thunkable. So because I have been using Thunkable for a while, it shows up in my address bar, but it might not for you. So you can just go to Google and search Thunkable and go to this first link, and there you can go to sign up, and then you can go ahead and create an account. So you can create an account using email, or you can actually sign in with your Google account as well. So I'm just going to do that, which is easier. So yes, I'm going to sign in with my account, and it will show you this dashboard, which you can see like all of the applications that you have made already, and you have the option to create new applications as well. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation, and in your phone as well you will see a login screen, and there you can log in to Thunkable using the same Google account, and then you can directly sign in and see the applications that you are currently working on. So the advantage of using Thunkable is that as you will see later, you can preview your applications live on your mobile phone. So you can actually check how it appears in the mobile phone while you're actually making it using your computer. So yeah, that is the advantage of Thunkable. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so once you have signed in to the account, we are going to actually start with our first project, which is to create a mobile application that will show you the weather of a location. So let me see if I can show you the working application first before we get started to build it. Okay, so once you actually go to the Play Store and download the Thunkable application, you can search here and then you can download the application. So since I've already downloaded it, I can just open it from here, or I can actually go to the app drawer and open it from here as well. Okay, so once we are in the Thunkable interface, once you log in, you can see the projects that you are working on under My Projects. So if you go to the first one, which is Plant Monitor, so that is the application that we are going to be building first. Wait, sorry, I accidentally closed it. And I want to mention, like, since there are Sinhala students and Tamil students here, I'm going to be conducting the session mostly in English, but still I will explain to you some of the difficult parts in Sinhala, but unfortunately I cannot explain in Tamil, so I will be explaining in English and Sinhala for the demonstration. Okay, so we're actually going to the weather app because that is the one that we are building first. So once it loads, you can see just give a second for it to load. So what basically happens in this application is that when you tap a location, you can tap anywhere in the map, in the world map. So it will show you the location that you tap, and it will show you the city that you tapped, and it will also show you the weather of that city. So why I thought of building this type of an app is because you are actually part of a IoT challenge, right? So that means you have to develop an application of IoT, right? So this is an example of something that you can develop as an application of IoT. So the users of this kind of an app would be like, let's say I want to go to Gampaha, but I don't know, like, if it is raining, whether I need to carry an umbrella or something like that. So I can just tap on Gampaha, where I want to go, and it will show me the weather in Gampaha right now. So it's cloud, it's not raining, right? So let's say it's not limited to just Sri Lanka. Like, I can zoom out and see the entire world. So let's say what is the weather in this point of Saudi Arabia. It will show you the city, and it will show that it's clear. So in the middle of Sahara Desert also it's clear, like expected, right? So let's say we go even further, we go to United States, and you can see it's cloudy. And some parts of United States actually snowing these days as well. So yeah, you can see it's raining. You can tap different parts, and you can see what is the city, and you can actually see the weather as well. So that is the application that we are going to be developing today, and you will be surprised like how easy it is to develop this kind of an application using Thunkable platform. Okay, so let's get into the application. Okay, so here we are at the Thunkable platform. I have already created the weather app here, so that is what I was demonstrating to you guys, but I am going to create a new app. I will call it weather tutorial. So this name is very important because it is the name that your app will have once you like export the application. So make sure you give like a meaningful name here. Okay, so you can create, oh sorry, has to give a category. So there's a category called weather. I'm just going to choose that category. Okay, so it gives us this screen, right? So this actually is a blank screen, but if you go back to your mobile device, right? If you can like, I'll just exit, and you will be able to see the new app that you created under the My Project section. So it will take some time to refresh. So until it refreshes, I will tell you about the development screen, the platform, the Thunkable platform, what you're seeing in the background right now, right? Okay, so on the left side you see two sections, which is screens and add components. So in a mobile application there are different screens, right? So for example, there can be a home screen, there can be like different application screens, there can be login screens and different screens. So all of your screens and all of the elements, all the components that you place in the screens are going to appear in this screens section. And then we have the add component section, which is a drawer of all the components that we can use. Okay, so you can add like buttons, you can add labels, things like that into your screen, and they will appear here. So that is basically what the left side of this interface does. Okay, so on the middle we have the canvas, or like it's not really called a canvas, but it's called like it's the screen that you will be working on. So now if we go back to the application, you can see it got refreshed, and you can see the new application that we are developing, and it has already been updated with what I dragged onto the screen, right? So yes, so you can see like when I change the name of this label, let's say test, and you can see it will update in my phone live time as well. So that is the advantage of using Thunkable. You can see how the application works in the phone as you are developing. So you guys can maybe I think it will be a bit difficult for you guys to follow along the steps as I'm doing. So I will be releasing you guys the presentation as well, so you can follow it later. So for now, just try to look at the video and understand the concepts, and maybe you can look back to the video when you're actually following the steps as well. Okay, so let's minimize the font for now, and I'm just going to delete these things that I put. So to delete an element, you can go to these three dots and press delete. Okay, so now let's actually start building your app. Or before that, on the right side of the interface, you can see wait, it actually just reloaded. Just give a second for it to reload. Yeah, on the right side, you can see the options of a specific component that you place. For example, if I place a label means just like a text. So you can see the different properties, like what it should say, what is the font, what is the color, it should be bold or not, it should be italic or not, like that. You can adjust all the properties, and you can actually manually adjust the location of it as well. Otherwise you can just drag easily, otherwise you can just type it here, and then you can adjust the size. Once again, you can drag it, or you can manually set it here. And you can change the visibility. So let's say if you have a component but you cannot see it, you have to check this if this one is ticked or not. So if you see the eye, it's visible. If you see a eye that is crossed, it is not visible. Okay, yeah, then you can check background color and a lot of other, like the properties that you can adjust will be depending on what type of components that you put. So if I put an image, it will be different set of properties. Okay, so now I'm going to delete this part also. Okay, so now let's actually get started with building our app, and for that I will go back to the presentation for a second. Okay, step 1 is to create a new project, which we have already done, and step 2 is the UI design. So this is the interface that we are going to be building in this app. So we have so we have different types of UI elements, or otherwise called as components as well. So they are in the app components section, and then we have to sort of drag them around and adjust the fonts, adjust the colors, adjust the positions and everything. So it will look like this. So that is what we are going to be doing right now. So you can see there are three types of icon components here. First one is label, right? Label means just text. So it can show us any text that we tell it to. And then we have a map, right? In the middle of the screen, we had a map. And then we have some more labels. We have actually 6 labels here. First one is like, you can see a text here. They are like, I have assigned a text. But in the other 3, like these 3, we have assigned the text and you can see the text. But the other 3 are blank, right? When you first open the application, it's blank. But when you tap a location on the map, only they will show some information, right? That is why it looks blank here, but you can see the box which indicates a label, right? And then there's an image. So this image is actually the icon, the weather icon, right? So you saw this little rainy cloud and the sun and the rain icon. Those kind of things are displayed in this image box. And then we have another label to give sort of credit to the service that we are using. We are just saying powered by Open Weather Map, and we are not changing it, so it's just a normal text. Okay, so now let's go back to the interface and actually place these components. First we will be needing a label, so you can drag and drop a label here. I'm just going to drag and drop the components first, and then we can adjust the sizes and everything, but I will be giving it a name here. First of all, I will name the screen as home screen. So even though we have just one screen in this application, it's worth it to name it, because we can identify it later when we are in the blocks, when we are like actually putting the blocks, because we don't see the preview when we are in the block screen. So we have to identify our components using these names that we give them. So it's important to give them very meaningful, specific names, right? So I'm going to put this one as title, because it's the title of the app, and it also tells us what to do. It's like basically it says to select location, right? And then I am going to add a map element, so yeah, here, and then I need 6 labels. But this one I'm not going to add first, because later we can duplicate with all the properties. So if you look at the app interface, you can already see, wait, it has disconnected for some reason. It's okay, it'll connect later. Once it, like you can see in the application that the components are already placed. And then I am going to add another label and an image component. Okay, so these are the basic things, different things that we have to add. First label, it's going to say select location, remember? Okay, so it's going to say like this, and I'm going to give it this font, and I'm going to choose this green color, because overall there was a green color theme in the application. Okay, so next I'm actually going to drag this one to the entire screen so that we can center it, so it will look a bit nicer. Okay, so we can center it like this. And then I'm going to make this map a bit bigger, because the map is where we are actually interacting, right? The user is tapping on the map, so it's important to make the application easy to use for the users. So that is why I'm going to make this map big as possible in this app screen. Okay, so then I am going to arrange these labels as well. This one will say location, right? So it will show us the coordinates of the thing that we of the location that we have selected. And if you remember from this one, these things are aligned towards the right of the box, right? but this one is centered, so we are going to right align those things. And I'm going to choose the same font and the same color, and then I'm going to bold it also and just place it here. Yes, okay. So now you can actually duplicate this box with the same property, so you don't have to adjust the properties over and over again. You can go to here. Before that, I will give names to these things, otherwise it's very hard to name after you have put everything. So this one is called location label. And this one is, I will call it credits, because that is the one we are going to use to give credit. Image is going to be weather icon. So you can see in the phone as well. Alright, it's not visible yet. It's okay, I will show you guys later how it looks on the phone. So now that you have created this, you can keep duplicating it. You need 3 of this, right? It will duplicate right on top of each other, so you will have to move it. It looks like it's not been duplicated, but it has already been duplicated, so don't do it again and again. So second one, it's going to show you the city, right? The name of the city. Okay, and then third one is going to show you the weather. Okay, so now you can add some more labels. We'll copy this one. You can also like hit Ctrl C and Ctrl V to copy components, which is also easy. So this one I'm going to align this way, and I'm going to make it black, because that is the text that is going to be appearing. And I'm going to clear the label, because that is where our location should appear. So I'm going to keep it blank, like I said before, right? And let's again rename these things, otherwise we cannot identify. So label 1 is actually city, right? You can see when I click this component, the actual component gets highlighted in red, so that is how you can identify. And this one I'm going to just keep as location. So other one is location label, so I can identify. When I'm setting the value, I will set it to location, location text box. Location label 2 means weather 1. So when you duplicate it, it will duplicate the name also, so that is why everything looks similar there. Label, okay. So this is how everything looks so far, and then I'm going to duplicate this one. Duplicate. When I move it here, it doesn't need to be, it actually needs to be like 2 lines thick, because some cities are long, some city names are very long, so they go to the next line also, so you might want to keep some extra space there. Otherwise it will get cut off once it gets out of the box, so you will not see the complete city name. Weather also, I'm just going to duplicate this one, but weather is not going to be very long. I think longest ones are like clouds, rain, stuff like that, so it's not very long. Weather, you can put it here, and weather icon I will put it somewhere here. Okay, so this one I will put as powered by Open Weather Map. So the reason that we put this is because like the people who use this app will know that we are getting this weather from this service called Open Weather Map. So we'll be looking at this one later. So it's always important to give credits when we are using a service, because like we are not paying for it, but still we are getting the service, right? So at least we can like give like tell that we are this is how we are actually doing it, so it gives them some credit as well. So that is why we are putting this. You may have seen these words in many applications like powered by Google, powered by YouTube or something like that. So yes, that is the reason that we actually put those things. So we can center the text and then we can make it smaller. Text size is here, so we can make it smaller, and then I'm going to make it gray so that it's not very highlighted. It's like it's there but not very visible, so that is how it should be, because it does not convey a lot of information. So when you are thinking of like how to design your app, it's very important to like think about these things. So the parts where the users are interacting a lot needs to be big, and the non-important parts should be less distracting. So the UI design is actually very important to actually get people to use your application. So yes. හරි මම මේ ටික දැන් සිංහලෙනුත් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්නම් පොඩ්ඩක් අපි මොකද්ද මෙතන කරේ කියලා. මුලින්ම අපි Thunkable වල account එකක් හදලා laptop PC එකෙනුයි මේ phone එකෙනුයි ඊට පස්සේ එතකොට අපිට පේනවා මේ phone එකෙත් අපි හදන application එකේ ඒත් එක්කම run වෙනවා කියලා පේනවා. දැන් මට පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් phone එක මේ තමයි phone එකේ view එක තමයි update වෙලා නැහැ update කරනවා. ඒක ඊට පස්සේ දැන් අපි මෙතන මේ තියෙන එක එක components ඇදලා දාලා ඒවල properties හදපු එක තමයි කරේ. එතකොට ඔයාලටත් ඒ විදිහට ඔයාලට කැමති විදිහකට හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ඔයාලට ලස්සනයි කියලා හිතෙන විදිහකට. Okay, so we'll proceed. We will be okay, so now we have to go to the next step, which is let's go back to the presentation. Yes. So something that I want to highlight is like give meaningful names, because we will be using them later. And okay, so now we are going to create this backend. So this is how we are going to code. Like we are going to drag and drop components just like we did for the design. Okay, so I have given you the steps to follow in coding this app. So it's not very hard. First thing we need to do is like we have I will show you the screen first before we go into the steps. So this is the screen that we are going to use for coding. So you can access it from this one. On the top it says blocks, and if you go to design you can see the physical design of your app. If you go to blocks you can see how you are going to code the block. So once you tap on one of these components, like you can see all the components that we have. I think I forgot to rename this. See, you can see like what happens when you forget to rename. You cannot identify what is location 1, what is location 2, what is location. So that is why we need to always rename. So this is location, that is correct. This is city, right? I'm going to put city here, and then I'm going to put weather here. Okay, so now go to the blocks. Okay, now you can see all the names and we can identify everything. So we will, first thing that we are going to do is we are going to think about, okay, first once you open the app, what do you do? Like how it appears like this, right? And once it appears like that, what is the thing that you want to do first? Like the user will be tapping on the map, right? So that is the action that is happening in the application. So when you tap a location only, it will be displayed. When you tap a different location, it will be displayed. So you can understand like what matters the most is like when the user taps. හරි සිංහලනුත් කිව්වොත් මේ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එකේ අපිට අපි නිකන් හිතුවත් අපි කොහොමද මේක ඔපරේට් කරන්න කියලා. ඒක ඔපරේට් වෙන්නේ අර යූසර් ගිහිල්ලා මැප් එකේ කොහේ හරි ටැප් කරාමනේ. එතකොට දැන් අපි එතනින් තමයි අපේ කෝඩ් එක පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ. අපි හිතන්න ඕනේ මොකද්ද පළවෙනියට ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක ඕපන් කරාම වෙන දේ කියලා. හරි. අපි යමු දැන් blocks එකට. Okay. So that, like for that you can see like if you click different components, there are different blocks you can use. Like there is a lot of blocks, but don't be like overwhelmed with this. It's very simple. So once you figure out your starting point, so our starting point is the map, right? So we go to the map and then we can see a lot of different options. So you can see like these when blocks, right? When gives the actions that we have. When map is ready. Map is ready means like if the map is loaded, it's ready. And then when map user location change means like, since this is a map, we can use like our location, like you can detect our own location as well, right, by giving it like location access, but we are not going to be using that one. This is a useful thing that you might need to use in your applications. Okay, and then I am going to use this one actually. So map on press, so that is actually what we need to do. We are pressing on the map, right? So this is the block that we need to start with. So you can see all the options, that the parameters we call them, that the block gives. Okay, so my app is finally reloaded. You can see how it looks like on my phone. So this is my phone screen right now. You can see there is a map, there is locations as well. So if I like tap on the map, you can browse around, it is working, and you can see all of these things. So it looks nice, okay, like it looks okay, so I'm not going to change anything. If it does not look okay, like if let's say actually, like I think we can make this map a little bit bigger. Let's say then you can go to design and you can like move this around and you can make it bigger, and it will be updated in the app. You can see, okay, so it just got updated, the map just got a little bit bigger, right? And you can move this stuff down a little bit. To allow some more space for the map. This is why we say Thunkable is very fast, because otherwise for a developer that is using codes, this might take hours and hours to just see how it looks in your mobile, right? But for us it takes very short time. I will raise this one a little bit so that it's on the same level. Okay, and the image a little bit below. Okay, so now let's go into coding, because we don't have a lot of time as well, and we have another application to develop also. Okay, so we'll go to the coding blocks directly. So you can see this is the first part, right? We press the map, and then we need to put a marker. So if you remember in my previous application, wherever we tap on the map, it places a marker. Marker means like that red thing that you see in Google Maps. So we need to put one of those. So there you can see a block called add marker, right? That is exactly what it's going to do. We are going to put add marker there, and this one will take some inputs. So if you see these things already attached, that means it's output and you can use it. You can use it somewhere else. You can like maybe go and attach it here, right? But if it's like this blank and you see like a grayed out version, that means it's actually an input. So it's an input for this block to work. Input requires. For example, let's say we are telling this app to add a marker. Now what is the question that the app will ask? So where do I need to put the marker, right? So we have to specify it using the inputs. So where do we get the inputs? It's from this block. This block's outputs. So it's always in programming, one block's input would be another block's output, right? Otherwise, like, it should be an input from the user, or there should be a way to get the input, and there should be a way to give the output to the user as well, right? Output to the user is like placing the marker there. Input to the function is like where to put the marker. So there, what we are going to do is like we are just going to drag this one here and connect it here. So what we are doing is like latitude and longitude, we are linking it to this block, right? So it will know, okay, when you press on the map, what happens is like these latitude and longitude values will get updated on where you press. Latitude and longitude is actually like a coordinate system. Like for example, if there is a place called 00 in the world map, and if you go like one step this way, you will be in 1 if you go another step this way, you will be in 2 1. Like that is a coordinate system for the world maps. In Sinhala we call it akshansha and dekshansha. So it's the same thing, latitude and longitude. Yes. So that is how we find the location in the map, and that will be displayed here. So now if you can see, like even in the code, like it gets updated live time, right? So if now if I tap a location on the map, you can see it adds a marker there. But what is the problem? Like when we keep tapping, it does not erase the previous marker, right? So that is wrong because like we don't know when it's like this and it displays a location and the weather, like we don't know what is the location actually, because there's a lot of markers. So what we need to do is like we need to delete these previous markers. So for that there's another function called delete all markers. So this is the thing that we are going to use. So we are going to put it before this one. Otherwise, what happens if you put it after? It will delete the marker that we put also. So we don't want that to happen. So we are going to put it on top. Okay, so now if you go to the app, you can see when I put a new marker, when I touch a new place, the previous one will disappear. Previous one will get deleted. So that is what we need. Okay. So now we are one step closer to building our app. We have the visual interface going, right? Okay. So then we need to actually adjust these text to work as well, right? So that is the next step. So for that part, what we'll be doing is we need to go, so we are updating the location text, right? So we are going to go into location and then it says set location text to. Okay, so for this one I'm going to display the coordinates like let's say if the coordinates are 50 and 100, I'm going to display it as 50, 100, right? So for that I'm going to be using like the location I can already get from longitude and latitude, but I need to get a comma also, right? And I need to combine them. So I'm going to use this thing called join. It's in the text set of blocks. So you can put join, and if you click on this blue icon, you can add another item to join, because we need 3 items, right? The first part of the text, which is latitude, sorry. Second part is a comma, and the third part is again the longitude. Okay, so I'm just going to put a comma here. Okay, so there is the text, and here I'm going to once again put, you have to drag it from here, right? If you drag it from here, it will get disconnected and this one won't have the input. Okay, so now what happens in the app is if you tap a location, it shows you the longitude and the latitude, but problem is like when this gives it to a very high decimal place. So we don't need to display everything, right? So what we need to do is we need to round this, make a round කරගන්න ඕනේ අපි. round කරනවා කියන්නේ මේ දශම ස්ථාන ගාන අඩු කරගන්න ඕනේ. නැත්නම් අපිට මේ එකයි පේන්නේ. අනිත් එක පේන්නේත් නැහැ. ඒක නිසා so what we need to do is like we need to go to math and then it has round, but this one only gives like 1 decimal place. 1 decimal place is actually not enough. No, it actually does not give any decimal places, so it's not enough. So longitudes are very big, and like if you want it to be sensitive, like you cannot see the difference if you round it to the nearest whole number. So what we are going to use is this function. So we are going to use this one and place it here, and that one will automatically get removed. So we are going to round the latitude to 2 decimal places, and then we are going to use the same thing again, round the longitude to 2 decimal places. You can actually have more or less here. Okay, so now let's look at the app. It actually works. Yeah, now we can see exactly. Oh, I think I did not put the comma correctly. This is an apostrophe, not a comma. Okay, so now you can see in the app it refreshes, and if you press a location you can see it properly. Okay, so yeah, that is exactly what we want. And then getting the city and the weather is actually the important part of this application, right? So it's the hard part. Now we have done the easy part. This one it's like, it's not hard, I mean it's like once you do it once it's very easy, but there's something that you need to understand. So we'll go back to the presentation for that part. Okay, so we have completed all of these steps. So you can see you can follow these steps. So this is what we built first, and then we use the round thing and the join block to actually set the coordinates value. So the value that the names that I've used in the presentation are different, because but you can use like any name, it will be fine as long as you put the same name there and same name here, so it will be okay. Okay, so next is we have to work on a web API. So first of all, like, you don't get scared of this word API. Okay, that's something that I don't know. It's actually a very simple thing. So what is API? We call it an application programming interface. It's a this is like a definition, like it's a set of functions, procedures, methods, or classes used by computer programs to request services from operating systems, software libraries, or any other service providers on the internet. So what this basically means is that, let's say you want to know some information. What do? You just go to the internet and you search it, right? For example, if I want to know the weather in Amsterdam, I can just search weather in Amsterdam. Yeah, you can, like, even before you search it, like, you can see it, right? So this is how you get information from the internet. But that is not how your applications or like other softwares get information from the internet. They don't have to, go to Google and search it. So there is a shortcut for them. They can actually search it by giving a URL, like by giving like instruction to a service, right? So you can see like weather.com. So Google is getting weather from weather.com, but we are not going to get from weather.com. We are going to get from a service called Open Weather Map. Okay, so let me show you in the presentation. So yes, this is the API that we are using. මම ඒ ටික පොඩ්ඩක් සිංහලෙනුත් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්නම්. මොකද ඒක ටිකක් අමාරු කැලලට අපි එන නිසා. API එකක් ඕනේ අපිට weather එක ගන්න අපේ software අපේ application එකට. එතකොට අපිට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ, කියන්නේ ඒකේ තේරුම වෙන්නේ අපි මොකක් හරි දැන් අපේ application එක තව මොකක් හරි information එකක්, කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි තොරතුරක් මේ අපිට ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකෙන් ගන්න ඕනේ නම් ඒක අපි කරන්නේ API එකක් හරහා. API එකක් කියන්නේ ඒක URL එකක්. ඒක URL එකකින් අපි මේ නිකන් API කිය ඇත්තටම ඒක ප්‍රොටෝකෝල් එකක්. හැබැයි අපි නිකන් සැලකුවොත් ඒක URL එකක් විදිහට තමයි අපිට එන්නේ. අපි ඒ URL එක මේ කියන්නේ link එක. ඒ link එකට ගියාම ඒ link එකේ වෙන මොකුත් කිසිම මේ මොකුත් නැතුව අර අපිට ඕනේ information ටික විතරක් දෙනවා. අපිට ඕනේ තොරතුරු ටික විතරක් දෙනවා. අපි ඒක කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා බලමු. අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්න යන service එක තමයි මේ Open Weather Map කියලා කියන්නේ. හරිද? මම ඒකේ link එකක් මෙතන දාලා තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට ඒක search කරලා ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. Okay, so when we search Open Weather Map, we can directly go into their website. This is the website of Open Weather Map. You can see all of the services that they are offering. So the reason that they have open is because it's free, right? I mean, up to a certain level it's free, but if you want to like make a lot of requests and like continue to make a lot of requests, it will be more and more expensive. But for our case, like, we are making very few requests, so it's going to be free. Okay, let's say if you are publishing this application, a lot of users might be pressing locations at the same time at different time, and you might get like thousands and thousands of requests. Then you will have to like purchase okay, so we are going to get a lot of requests, so we have to purchase this package, just like a sort of a data package. You can think it like this. Okay, so now that we are in the website, let's see what we need to do. I have actually logged in, but let me log out first and then go to Open Weather Map. Okay, so this is how it will look like for you first. What you need to do is you can go to sign in. Once it loads, yeah, you can go to sign in, and then you can enter your email and password, or if you have not like you have not created account so far, like, then you can enter some username and email and password, like, and you have to tick these two boxes, and then we can, if you want to get notifications and news as emails from this service, like, you can tick this, otherwise it's optional. So you can tick this one and then create the account, right? You can pass the captcha and create the account. So that is how I have created my account. So since I've already created, I can just log in. Okay, so now that I have logged in, it tells me to verify the email, but it's optional, I have not done it. Okay, so now what you need to do is like you can actually explore what type of services that they are giving also. Like, let's say this is the first time that you are coming for this page, and I'm not like explaining to you how do you find what is how you can actually get the service. You can go to their website and check, like, read around, like, what are the services that they offer. So they offer something called current weather data that gives like access current weather data for any location, including over 200,000 cities, right? So it offers like 200,000 cities around the world. So that is why every city in Sri Lanka also is accessible, right? Okay, so hourly forecast for 4 days. You can get weather for hourly weather for 4 days ahead, and forecast weather day for 96 4 into 24 96 timestamps will be given, right? Forecast for 16 days, forecast for 30 days. Like like they give a lot of weather data, like you can get, right? um, you can also get solar radiation. So this, like, depending on what type of projects you are doing, this information might be useful to you. And it offers something called geocoding, which means like it works both ways. If you give a coordinate, it will give the name of the city. If you give the name of a city, it will give you the coordinates. Like that, you can also find the longitude and latitude of any city. It offers like a lot of services, you can see, and there's actually lots and lots of applications that offer these type of services. I mean, not just weather, maybe news, maybe videos, even YouTube, Google. There are API services that you can use to directly use their service without going to the website. Okay, so the service that we are using is this one, right? Current weather. We only want to know current weather, but let's say you want to know the future forecast, you can use one of these APIs as well. So we go to the API doc. API doc means like the document that will have the instructions on how to use this application, how to use this API. Okay, so this one is the URL that I was talking about. So මේක තමයි අපි අර කලින් කතා කරපු link එක. මේ link එකේ තියෙනවා කෑලි තුනක්. කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය text එක තියෙනවා. මේක අපි එහෙමම දාන්න ඕනේ. ඊට අමතරව මේ තමිළු වලින් තියෙන ටික අපි වෙනස් කරන්න ඕනේ. longitude එකයි latitude එකයි API key කියලා එකයි. හරිද? මම ඔයාලට ඒක presentation එකකින් පෙන්නන්නම්. Okay, so we go back to the presentation. We go back to the next slide. Okay, so when we give this link, when we actually give this link in your browser, it will actually give this response. So I will show it to you. I think I can escape. Yeah, when I copy this link and when I just paste it in the browser, it will give this kind of a message. So this like might appear like Greek to you, but what it actually has is all the information that we have requested, right? We have given the coordinates. Okay, so in this one I have given the coordinates as 6.93 and 79.86. This is actually the coordinates of Colombo, right? You can find it out like Colombo coordinates, yeah, there. And you can see like 6.92 and 79.86 is the coordinates of Colombo. So that is how I have like given in the link as 6.93 and 79.86. And then I have given this API key. It's like a unique password that is given to my own account, right? So for your account it will be different. So you can use this account, but I would recommend you use your own account. Yes. Okay, so it shows us the weather. Now this one is very complicated, right? So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to copy this one, and this is actually called a JSON string. JavaScript, if you are like learning JavaScript, you would know like this type of strings. It's called a JSON string, and I'm going to use something called a JSON string formatter. And you can see there is a lot of applications on the internet that lets us sort of analyze these strings. So I'm just going to paste it here and click format JSON, and it will show me all the information that is there. So let me just zoom this one for you guys. Okay, so it has coordinate. What this application, what this website does is it just arranges it, right? All this information is already there in the text, but it's like not arranged in a nice way. මේක පැහැදිලි නෑනේ අපිට මෙහෙම තියෙද්දි. ඒක තමයි මම අර මේකකට දාලා ඒක ටිකක් අර ලස්සනට හදාගත්තේ. ඒක ඇතුලේ බැලුවාම තියෙනවා අපි මේ දීපු coordinates දෙක. ඊට පස්සේ තියෙනවා අපිට ඕන එක. මෙන්න මේක තමයි අපි හොයන්නේ weather කියන එක. ඒක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා main කියලා එකක්. main කියන්නේ ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් මේ weather එක describe කරන හැටි. description කියන්නේ broken clouds කියලා කියන්නේ මේ AR මේකේ description එක. මේ clouds වල තවදුරටත් description එක. ඊට පස්සේ icon code එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා අපිට 0.4D කියලා. මේක ඇත්තට මේ open weather map එකෙන් offer කරන තව service එකක් අපිට weather icons ගන්න පුළුවන් ඒකෙන් ලේසියෙන්ම. ඒක තමයි මම අර app එකේ පාවිච්චි කරලා තිබ්බේ. So yeah, you can see in the API there's a different information that we can get from the coordinates that we have given it, right? It gives us the coordinates again, then it gives the weather, and then I'm not going to be using these things. It gives the temperature of the location as well, humidity of the location, and it gives sea level, ground level, visibility, wind direction, something called gust, and clouds, how much clouds are there, I think the cloud density or something like that. And most importantly, it gives the name of the city. It gives the time zone also, so you can like very easily, same way you can make an app that gives the time of anywhere that you tap in the world with the name, and maybe you can give the wind direction, temperature, humidity, those things you can easily get from the same code. But we are going to use only this part, right? We are going to use this part. Actually, we are going to use only this part and this part. So these are the three things that we are displaying. So how do we actually access these things from this text? That is what we are going to be looking at. So we are going to tell our mobile application, okay, you have to get you already know the location, right? You already displayed the location as in the coordinates, like you already know, you know this part, and how then you can send it, like you can actually go to this link, you can make the link and you can go to the link, and then you will get this huge text. And how do you extract the information from this text? So that is what we are going to be looking at right now. Okay, so I think this is the most difficult part of the application, but this is going to be very useful. Whatever service that you are going to get is very important for IoT applications. Whatever IoT applications you are doing, there needs to be an API. It will definitely be there. You cannot escape APIs. So it's very important that you learn how to create and use APIs. Okay, so this is the format. We come back to here. Latitude, longitude, we already know. How do we find the API key? So if you go to this one, you can actually click on the API key also. Otherwise, you can go to your account name here, and then there's a section called My API Keys. So if you go to that one, you can see your API key. You can see your one here. It will be different from my one. So your one you can copy, and that is the thing that you are going to be using for the, let me go back, using for this part, right? For example, let me just copy this one, this entire thing here. And for the latitude, I'm going to remove this part and put a random number, let's say 34.9. Longitude, I'm going to put 56.8, and then API key, I'm going to put this one. I have copied it earlier, so I'm just going to access my clipboard and paste it. Okay, so this is the entire URL that we need to do. So now we manually did it. Now we have to look at how to get our application to do it, how to get our mobile application. We can see we get a similar text. Okay, so the latitude and longitude that I entered, and the weather is clear on this random place, and the weather is clear, and the place is somewhere called Java DA. I don't know where that is. So you can see the country also, but this is the place that we randomly access. Okay, so now how do we get our application to make this URL for us? So that is what we are going to do. So I'm just going to copy this URL, and then I am going to go back to here. Okay, so I will actually create a variable first. Initialize app variable. The name is going to be API key. Okay, so I'm going to save my API key. I'm going to put a text block here, and then I'm going to put my API key here, so that let's say if I change my API key later, I can just change it here without going through this entire block of code. That is why I sort of put it separately. And then we are going to use this function called, if you go to the advanced section, so now we are in the advanced section, right? Okay, so you can see this option called web APIs. You can go to that option, click plus, and you don't really need to give any string here because you are going to be changing it, but I'm just going to give this part here. It's not necessary at all, you can leave it blank also. I'm just going to give it here, and okay, so now you can, if you can click on this web API 1, web API 1 is something that you have initialized already. So yes, you can see it offers a lot of things that you don't know about, right? Probably. So what we are going to be using is the get request only. Get request, what it does is like it calls that URL. It's the same thing as like we pasting the URL on the address bar and we get this information. It's basically a get request that we are doing. So we are giving this URL, we are going to this URL and we are getting a response. So that is basically what is happening with the get block. Okay, so I'm going to put it here and you can see it takes, what are these called? These are outputs, right? So these things are inputs and these things are outputs. So if you can see like a grayed out version is an input, but if it's like something that you can drag out, it's an output. Okay, so like I said before, this is API block and it gives the response as an output. It also gives a status and an error. Okay, error means like it's like it gives, if it gives an error, the error block can be used to sort of see it. You can assign a text box to the error part and then you can see what is the error. So that is why they are giving this one also. So if you like keep your mouse on a block, you can see what it does, right? Like this. Okay, okay, so now we have this response, and what do we do with this response? That is what we are going to think about now. Oh sorry, we don't have the response yet. We actually have to set the URL of this thing, right? So what we are going to do is like we are going to use this thing called set URL, set web API URL, because we are going to tell it to actually join this. Okay, so we are going to be using another join block to actually format our URL. Okay, so we are going to be adding 2 more items. Yes, 2 more items. I'll just add 2 more items for now. And then first one is going to be our this part up to the variable that we want to change. I'm going to put this part, and then next I'm going to put this one is the latitude, right? Okay, so latitude we can get from here. Yeah, this one is going to be this middle part. Okay, so now we are here and we have to put this part also, and long equals. For that part also we need a separate block, right? Even though it's very short. Yes. Okay, so then we need to put longitude, and then actually we are going to need 2 more blocks. So I'm going to add 2 more. Okay, and then what is the next part? And API ID, that is the API key that I was talking about. So for that part is text, so I'm going to add another text part here, and then finally I'm going to add my API key. Okay, so this is how you use a variable. This is how you like initialize a variable. On top we initialized it. So for the value API key, basically for this value I gave a name as API key. That is what variable means. And then I am using this app variable API key. App variable means like it's a variable that is used in the app, right? Okay, so if you define another variable, there would be more options here to choose from. Okay, so what basically this whole block does is that it puts this part first, and then it puts the longitude in the middle, latitude in the middle, and then it prints this part, and then it puts longitude in the middle, and then it put this part, then it put the app variable, and we will get something like this one, right? So yes, that is what we have been trying to do so far. Okay, and right, so now that we have the URL and now that we have this response also, let me just check if this one actually prints, right? So to check, I will add another label here. You can already like use one of your existing labels also. I'm just going to put it here, and I'm going to decrease the font size a lot, yeah, that much, because the API response is very long. And I am going to assign the response to that block. So this is something optional that you can do, like it's called label 1 because I just put it. set label 1 to, sorry, it should be in this one, set label 1 to response. Okay, so this way you can check if it works. So if you go back to the app, let me just reconnect my phone to here. Yeah, sorry for the delay, it's still loading. So until it connects, it actually takes about a minute to connect. Oh, it just connected. Yes, okay, we are here. Okay, so now I am in the app and I go to the Thunkable. Okay, so this is the app and you can see label at the bottom, right? So if I press a location, okay, so you can see the API works because it just shows the entire response in the label that I just put, right? Okay, so that is exactly what I wanted. So if you press the map again, yes, I can see it, but it's not updated in the screen yet. Okay, so when I type a new location, it will show me, it will access that API and it will give me the response in this label that I chose. One issue is there where the marker is not appearing. Let's see what has happened. Oh, okay, it's because I have accidentally removed this one, so I have to put this here. Let's see if that resets and I can press. Okay, so now the marker is appearing. Okay, so I will just remove this block because it should not be there. I will just remove the visibility for now. Later we can delete it. I will just rename it as test block because we are using it to like test. Or otherwise I will use the technical term which is debug. Okay, so we are almost there. So මම ඒ කරපු ටික සිංහලෙනුත් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්නම්. Basically අපි මේ මුලින්ම ගත්තා මේ API එක හදන්න බ්ලොක් එකක්. API එකේ අපි කරන්න ඕනේ මේ වගේ link එකකට මේ මුළු ටික අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ මේ ටික ඉලක්කම් ටික ඒ කියන්නේ variable එකක් විදිහට දාලා ඊට පස්සේ මෙන්න මේ ටික දාලා මේ ටික අපි ලියලා ඊට පස්සේ මේ ටික ආයේ variable එකක් විදිහට දාලා ඊට පස්සේ මේ ටික ආයෙ link එක ලියලා ඊට පස්සේ මේ ටික variable එකක් විදිහට දාන්න. ඔය පහ තමයි connect කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඒ පහ connect කරන්න පහ නෙමෙයි 6 sorry. 6 connect කරන්න අපි මේ join block එකක් පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒකේ මේ ටික වැටිලා ඊට පස්සේ මේක මෙතෙන්ට set වෙලා ඊට පස්සේ මේ ටික වැටිලා ඊට පස්සේ මේකට set වෙලා ඊට පස්සේ මේක වැටිලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි මේ API key කියන එක අන්තිමට දාලා දෙනවා. මම API key කියන එක වෙනම දැම්මේ. මට ඒක මගේ API key එක වෙනස් වුණොත් මට මෙතන වෙනස් කරාම හරි. මෙතන අපි වැරදි API key එකක් දැම්මොත් අර response එක අපිට එන්නේ නැහැ. හරිද? උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මම පෙන්නන්නම්. මෙතන එක ඉලක්කමක් අපි වෙනස් කරොත් සමහරවිට එහෙම API key එකක් තියෙනවා නම් වැඩ කරනවා. හැබැයි දැන් කියනවා යාලා invalid API key කියලා. හරිද? ඒක නිසා මේකේ අර දිග ඉලක්කමක් වුණාට හැම අකුරක්ම හරියටම තියෙන එක වැදගත්. හරි. Hari, then okay, so we are almost done. What we need to do is like we need to sort of get the interface to show the output properly. So if we go back to let me find it, this one. Okay, so I will show you this one. This is actually like a JSON string that we get, like the one that I showed earlier. So the information that we need is actually here. So it's in weather. It's in the section weather, and there's a square bracket also. it's like a list. If you know programming, it's a list, but it's not very I mean, you don't have to understand that to proceed with the API. It's basically square bracket, and this one is like another level. Like levels are defined using this curly bracket, and lists are defined using this square bracket. I don't know why this one is a list, because there's only one element. Usually we use list if there are more elements, but this is the format that they are providing us, so this is the format that we have to use, right? It's like we are not making the rules, they are making the rules, so this is the format that we are going to have to follow. Okay, so then we go to I'm actually going to do it a bit quicker because we have to finish another app also. Okay, so we can go here, and then you can see it's inside weather, and then it's inside main, right? It's inside weather, inside main, right? So there's two levels that we need to access. Okay, so for that we will be going back to the Thunkable interface, and you can see how I'm going to access it. So I use this word JSON a lot because like it's a JSON object, we call it, right? So this response is actually a text, a set of words and like set of letters, right? So it's a string, but we need to convert it into an object. Object means it's a way of expressing data using these brackets and square brackets and things like that, right? So it's a way that computers express data, like used to store data, even like in a database or something like that. So even like your passwords, your login, and your everything basically is mostly, if they are using JavaScript, they are being stored using this JSON format. Okay, JSON object format. Okay, so JSON string, this block, what it does is like it takes this set of words and it converts it into an object. You cannot like physically see what is happening inside this block. You just have to, it's the way like for the computer to understand this string, this text, we need to convert it into an object. So that is something that we have to put there, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so yes, then we have an object. So object is like that whole thing that we saw before, this one, right? Okay, so we have to go inside weather, inside main. So for that we need to use this one, get property of, okay, that one is connected off. Okay, so now this is an object. We can actually perform an operation on it called the get property. So we call these the things on the inside as properties. So this code, this weather, main are properties, right? This main is a property of weather, which is a property of this entire response. Okay, so like properties, there can be properties inside properties. So this one is a property and this one is a property, right? Okay, so what we are going to do is like we can either use so we have to get the first one, like out of this whole thing, we need to extract this part first, weather, right? Weather means this part, weather means actually this part with the square brackets, right? And then out of that we have to access this part. So for that we can use two property blocks. Otherwise there's a trick that we can use, a shorter way. We can say weather and one. The reason I'm using one here is because there's a list, right? Sometimes in APIs, like you might not want to use this one, so you can try either way. This one works for this specific API, so that is why I'm using that. One means like, because there is a list here only, we have put that one. One means like you go to the response and then you look for the property called weather, and we have said weather one. Weather one means like weather is a list, so first element of that list is this one, right? There's no second element, just the first element, but since it's a list, we have to say, okay, go to the first element, otherwise it will not know where to find the first one. Like computers, like they don't have a mind of their own, they have to like specify every small instruction, right? So yes, they will go here, and then we say go to main, and then tell us what is inside main. So that is what we are basically telling the app. ඒක සිංහලෙනුත් කිව්වොත් මේකෙන් කරන්නේ අපේ රෙස්පොන්ස් එක ඇත්තටම ස්ට්‍රින්ග් එකක් කියලා අපි කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ වචන අකුරු කිහිපයක් තියෙන දිගටම ඒක අපි කම්පියුටර්ස් වලට අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩ් එකෙන් තේරෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ විදිහකට කන්වර්ට් කරගන්නවා. අපි ඒකට කියනවා ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් කියලා, JSON ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් කියලා. ඒකෙන් ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එකට කන්වර්ට් කරාට පස්සේ අපිට මේ බ්ලොක් එක පාවිච්චි කරලා ඒකේ තියෙන මේ වෙදර් එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන මේන් එක අපිට කෙලින්ම ගන්න කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේක ඔබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් විදිහට අපි හදාගත්තට පස්සේ අර බ්ලොක් එක දාලා get object from json කියන බ්ලොක් එක දාලා අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් මේ වෙදර් එක ඇතුළට ගිහිල්ලා මෙන්න මේ මේන් එකේ ඇතුළේ තියෙන එක අපිට කියන්න කියලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක තමයි මේ get property කියන බ්ලොක් එකෙන් කරන්නේ. හරි, දැන් weather.main ඔන්න දැන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. අපි නිකන් app එකට ගිහිල්ලා බලමු ඒක වැඩ කරනවද කියලා. මේක ආයෙ පොඩ්ඩක් ඩිස්කනෙක්ට් වෙලා නිසා මට ඔයාලට දැනට පෙන්නන්න බෑ. හැබැයි ඒක මම debug එකකින් සෙට් කරලා තියෙනවා. debug එක කරන්නේ මේ අපි ඒක ඇත්තටම සෙට් කරන්න ඕනේ weather කියන එකට. හරි, ඒක වැඩ කරනවා. හැබැයි මට ඔයාලට දැන්ම පෙන්නන්න බෑ මේක ඩිස්කනෙක්ට් කරලා නිසා ඒක ආයෙ කනෙක්ට් වුණාම පෙන්නන්නම් ඔයාලට. Okay, so that is basically what happens. So it is working in the app. We can proceed to the next part, which is to display the location as in the city, right? The name of the city. So where is the name of the city? It's all the way down here. It's called name. But you can see from this level, like there's this one we call as indentation. Like this one has this much space from the beginning, this one has a lot more space. That also means something. It means that these two properties are inside this one, these four properties are inside this one, right? We use that. Okay, so you can see like this one is like on the first level, right? Okay, so this one is on the first level. Okay, so I can show you the app right now for a second. So you can see in the weather it will show exactly the property that we were looking for. You might not see it updated. Yeah, it's clear like that. It will show the weather property. Okay. Now we need to access this name property. For that, what we are going to do is like we are going to copy this one. You can like Ctrl C and Ctrl V on blocks to copy, and then I am going to put city here, and then property. It's not going to be weather main, it's just going to be name, right? Because it's directly inside the object, you don't need to like go any further. Okay, so now you can see in the app okay, so it shows the city as well. It's easy as that. You can see it's not aligned a bit, so let me just push it down a little bit to make it a bit more symmetric. Okay, so never mind. Sorry, we can okay, so now we have completed the app, right? Almost completed, it's good to go. But we are going to give it an additional touch. We are going to display the weather icon also. So my objective is to teach you guys how to use the image part also. So that is why I'm doing this. Okay, so we can see the image one. Where is the image one? Oh, sorry, it's called weather icon. Yes, yes. In the weather, oh sorry, in the weather icon. Okay, so you have this block called weather icons picture 2, right? You're going to place it here. So yeah, it all happens after getting the API, right? What this block does is like it requests, and then after it gets the API response, it runs this set of things, right? So if you put it here also, it will work, but it would make more sense to put it here because it should get updated every time this one is run, right? Okay, so for this one picture, you can actually attach a picture here. Like you can attach a picture, or you can actually put a URL also. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to put a URL, and the URL we are going to put is another, it looks like an API but it's not actually an API. It's something that the Open Weather Map offers us also. Let me just search for icon. No, I think I will just search Google for it. Open. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so this is how you can use the icons. This is the URL. So you can say like these are, you saw the icon code earlier, right? So these are the codes. For every code there's a separate icon. There's a separate icon for night and day also, right? So if you go back, okay, so I'm just going to copy this URL and we are going to do the same thing. We are going to put a text box. Actually we are going to put a join block. Let me just copy the join block from here. Only these two parts. Okay, so okay, this part is going to be the URL, and here we are going to have to replace with the other part, right? So I'm just going to delete this part, and I'm just going to cut this part because we are going to need it later. The last part is going to be this one. Yes, this one can be the last part, and the last part I will put that one. Okay, so in the middle what should be there? It should be the property that says icon, right? So icon is also inside weather 1, that means the first element of the list, and icon. Okay, this is the icon 04D in Colombo right now. So if you go here, it should display 04D is this one, broken clouds. Yeah, this is what it should display. If you want to just check, you can go here and type this URL like 04D, right? You should be able to see that icon. So this is what is displayed in your app, right? Okay. For this one, you need to, I will just copy this get property block, and then I think better if I copy this one. And not main, we are going to use a thing called icon. Okay, so it's very simple as that. So if you go to the app again, okay, so now you can see the icon also. I think it's very small, but we can make it a little bit bigger. Another thing is like you can see the moon is actually a bit scratched, right? So to fix that, we can change the picture resize mode to contain. Contain means like whatever the size of the picture, it should be contained inside this region that we specify without actually scratching it, right? Without deforming it. So that is what we need. Okay, so now that we have made it bigger, let's see how it looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay guys, so that is basically the app for the first app for today. So it's very easy to make. So if you guys have any questions also, you can ask in the YouTube chat. We will go to the next app, but before that I will show you how to actually export this app. You first have to like make sure everything is working properly. Oh, one thing I forgot to change is that I want to actually change the, so once this app reloads, it's starting in San Francisco, right? And we are not in San Francisco, unfortunately. So we have to change it. If you change the initial location, it will, if you remember, like it was 6.93 and 79.8, if I remember correctly, to get it to Colombo. Yeah. Okay, it's a bit off. 79.8, not 78. Oh, it's correct. 79.86 and 6.92. Okay, so I think if I correct this one, it will be okay. Okay, so we are at Colombo. So this is how your app will load right now. Maybe you can put the coordinates for your home place first, and then you can check it out. Okay, so basically this is how it works. If you want to suddenly go to Jaffna, you can see. Okay, so it's cloudy there, it's not raining there. So yeah, that is how this app works, and I'm going to show you how to actually export it. I'm just gonna keep this one. Okay, so now you guys see this icon called download and publish. So you can for these options, to publish it you have to pay, but to download it you don't have to pay. You can actually have 2 free downloads per month. So make sure you use this downloads wisely, because you might be wanting to submit the app during the submission time, which is April 16th. So during that time, like, there's no 2 months, so you might only be able to export it twice. So make sure your app is working perfectly in the live preview before you export it, because after you export it you can only export it once again before this month, right? Okay, but you can like try with a different account or something like that. I have not tried so far. Okay, so for one account you can only download 2 maps, and I have already downloaded, so that is why it shows 1. So if you go back to my phone, and I will show you. Okay, so yeah, sorry, I forgot to bring up the phone. Okay, so you can see the app that I have already downloaded. It loads like this. So you don't see the app tutorial thing at the bottom, so that is the difference. And you can actually share this app with someone. Maybe you can change the icons as well. You can like find out how to do that. I will leave you to it. Okay, so this one actually after exporting, this text box got a bit smaller. I'm not sure why, but things like that could happen. So you might have to like export it more than one time, because it's slightly different than the web preview. But yeah, this is how it works. It works perfectly. The formatting is a bit different, because last time I did it a bit different. Okay, so that is basically the demonstration of the first app, and now we will go to the second one. Okay, so the second one I'm not going to explain as much, because we went to like very high detail in this one. Second one is basically I'm going to focus on how to actually connect your apps to the outside world, to the real life world, because a lot of applications in IoT involve connection to different devices in your homes, right? So yeah, that is what I'm going to do. Okay, so now we have completed a lot. You can see all the steps and all the blocks. So if you want to try it at home, we will give the recording as well, so you can try it at home. This is the most important thing I want you guys to remember. Like, make sure it's everything is working properly in the live preview, because you will only get 2 free uploads, 2 free exports per month. Like, you can submit screenshots of your app, or like screen recordings of the live preview also, that is accepted. But if you are demonstrating, I mean, it would be nicer to have an exported APK, right? So yeah, I mean, you can show from the live preview as well if you cannot upload, so that is fine. Okay, so this is the second app we are going to make. So this one is very interesting. Let me show you how it works first. Okay, so I will go back to Thunkable. Okay, you can go back from the icon at the bottom. Okay, so under my projects, it's called Plant Monitor. I named it Plant Monitor. Okay, so once you come to this screen, this is like, this app has 2 screens, right? It actually has more screens, but I have only made one so far. Okay, so then you can tap on the plant that you want to get. Oh, wait, let me I have not set up my physical device yet, so that is why it's not loading. Let me just set up it and demonstrate to you guys first. So basically what happens is, like, until that rolls, otherwise you guys will be waiting. What happens is, like, it will go to this page, and it will show the soil moisture, humidity and temperature of this actual plant, like that I have fixed these sensors to, right? So that is very interesting, because it's relating to the real world, right? So that is what we are going to learn, how to relate this app to the real world. Okay, how to connect. Okay, so like the previous time, we are going to be creating a new project, and we are going to be doing the user interface design. So this time we will have two screens, so you will get to know how to create two screens and what is the difference. And then we are going to create the backend, like the coding part. And this one's coding part is very simple, only this part and this part, right? So you might think it's more complicated, but it's actually more simple. But this one we are going to be using this platform called Magic Bits to actually link it to the our sensors and our physical device. So the physical device we will be using is called you can actually use a ESP32 or one of our Magic Bits. So this is like something that is created from our company, like a development board that you can very easily learn. You can connect the soil moisture sensor like this. You can connect the DHT11, the temperature and humidity sensor like this, and you can plug it into your laptop, or you can plug it into a power bank or a battery, and then you can get these inputs from the sensor, and then you can get it to your app. So that is what we are going to be learning. And also you can use this one. This one is a bit cheaper, but you have to connect the wires manually. So you might have to solder, or you might have to use a breadboard. It will be a bit messy, but it's more cheaper. So if you are going for the cheap option, this is the way to go. So you can connect the soil sensor. This one is a soil sensor, and this one is the temperature and humidity sensor, and this one is the light dependent resistor, LDR. So these three things, this is like I have shown you how to connect to the ESP32 development board. So this one is called ESP Dev Kit. I have showed you here. So it's much cheaper, but it does not have built-in like screen, and it does not have built-in like motor controllers and sensors like this. So that is why it's more cheaper. I mean, you can use anything that you prefer, okay? But still you can use the same platform, Magic Blocks, to actually program it without learning code, okay? So our theme today is like how to develop these things without hours and hours of coding. So even professional developers might not like coding that much, so that is why these platforms are there, to make it a lot easier for us to develop new things without worrying about, you know, a semicolon misplacement or something like that, right? Putting a bracket in the wrong place or something like that. So that is why these easy platforms exist, for us to make our projects very faster and easier. Okay, so now let's get, I will just do the steps. Okay, so first step, as you can remember, was to go to Thunkable platform and then create a new app. I'm going to create this called plant monitor tutorial. This one actually category is, let's say, you can choose anything, it does not really matter. I actually could not find a category that is relative to this one, so I'll just put education. Make sure you take this one, okay? Otherwise you will not get the drag and drop builder. Okay, so we can open the app, and then we are taken to this blank screen, like same as last time, except this time we'll be having two screens, right? So I'm going to name this one as home screen. And then I am going to add another screen by clicking the plus icon here, and I'm going to name it as cactus screen, because my plant happens to be a cactus. Cactus screen, okay. Okay, so back at the home screen, we had a label on top, like same as before. I'm just going to follow these steps faster, because now you already know how to do these things. It's going to give it brown color, and then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because it's the title. I'm going to center it. Okay. This color looks a bit, okay, it's okay. I'll make it a bit darker. Okay. Then I have used an image, right? So this image I have actually downloaded to my PC. So how I'm going to do that is like there's this site called PNG Wing. I have attached it in the presentation as well. So you can go to this site called pngwing.com, or you can use any other site that provides PNGs as well. So there's a lot. And then search for the PNG you need. So for the plant monitor, I will use plant. There's a lot of PNGs that you can use. If you want like a drone image, so you can search plant clip art. Sorry, I think I can use this one for the cactus, but that is not what I'm looking for right now. I will download it anyway. Okay, so it gives me a captcha to do. Here, tap these icons in order. 708X. Okay, it's downloaded, and I'm actually going to open this one and rename it as cactus image. You cannot see it right now, which is okay. After you upload, you can see it. And then I'm going to look for, let's see if there's a good image for a plant monitor. I think we will just use one of these. Actually, I'm thinking like maybe we can use this one. It looks a bit nice. We might want to change the position. So it's up to you what kind of thing that you want to use. There's a lot of nice images here that you can use. Maybe I want this one also to put in the bottom. So I'm going to create a bit different one. So like I said, it's very important that you make your app very nice to the eye as well. Okay, so this one will be, I will name it as bottom image, and I will name the other one as the top image. Okay, so we go back to the platform. So you can see in my downloads folder, I have 3 images set up: cactus one, and the top image, and the bottom image. Oh, this one's okay, it's a bit weird. Okay, so what we need to do is we go to this tab called assets. So this is where we can actually put stuff in, like, wait, let me go to downloads. Okay, so you can choose the images here. I'm going to upload all 3 at once. Okay, so then we are going to place 3 image blocks. I'm going to make this here, and then I'm going to place an image block here. Remember, you have to drag and drop. Okay, so this will be my top image. So this one you can directly choose from here, right? Top image. So it will load and it's there, right? It's very easy. And then I'm going to, you have to select the image, not contain. Okay, so I think I'm just going to keep it like this one. Okay, so it does not let me like put it overall, so I'll just keep it like this one. Okay, so that looks nice. And then I am going to add the other image. I'm not really sure if that image is the way we want it to be, so let's see how it looks like. Okay, so it actually looks very nice. So we are going to proceed with this format. Okay, so next we are going to do, you can see how it looks in the app as well. Okay, so next we are going to be putting a list. You can actually see the interface in the presentation, and you can build it. So this is the interface. This is the interface actually. Okay, so there's a text called select plant also here. So let me just put that text. Okay, I'm going to put this here. Oh, wait. Since I put it before, okay. Let me just bring it there, and okay, we'll just leave it here. Okay, this one will be and this one will be our list. So in our list we can actually type things here to add to our list. Oh, sorry, not can, it's characters. Okay, and then next one I am going to add this anthurium. Okay, so these are the two plants that we are going to monitor. In this application I'm only going to build cactus, but maybe you can build expand more later as well if you are interested. Okay, so that is basically it for the first screen, right? Second screen we are going to have another image. Actually, let me rename the things in the first screen. Label 2 is select label, and list viewer I'm just going to leave it like that because there's only one list viewer, we can anyway identify it. And image is also, since we are not accessing them, using them for any actions, I'm just going to leave it like that. But label, this one also I can just put as title. Okay, so now that is actually above the images, I can put it over the images like I actually wanted to. I can put it white, right? So that looks nice. And select plant and list viewer is right here. Okay, so you can look at how it looks in the application. Yeah, this is how it looks. Yeah, this is how it looks. It actually looks very nice. So we are going to proceed to the next part. Okay, so in this screen we are going to drag image, and we are actually going to we can copy these two elements. This one I am going to copy from this screen to this one, and then this one I am going to copy, and I'm going to rename it as cactus. Okay, cool. So now that shows cactus, and then this image is going to be our cactus. Okay, and for the last part we are going to be adding something called a web viewer, which what it does is like it goes to a site and it shows the information. So right now it's accessing the Thunkable site because that's how they have configured it. But we are going to delete this part, and for example, like if we say google.com, it will show google.com. Yeah, in the application it will show google.com. Oh, you have to type the whole website. Why is okay? Yeah, it's not showing google.com for some reason, but never mind, we are not going to show google.com. We are actually going to show this site, right? It shows the soil moisture, humidity and temperature and the light. So we are actually going to show this one. I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so how do we get this one? I will show you guys in a little bit how we can get that one. Okay, so this one is a web viewer. So this is the entire second page that we are going to do, and then we are going to go to blocks, and then we are going to configure the blocks. It's very simple, like I said. So here also you can switch between the screens. So in the home screen, remember what you need to do is like go to the cactus screen if the cactus button is pressed. So as simple as that. So you can go to control, and you can use the navigate one, but for that you need to use the if pressed one, right? So list viewer, when you go to the list viewer, when you click an item, so like the last time, like what is the user doing when the user is coming to this screen, the home screen, what the user does is like they are pressing one of the items in the list, right? So you have to go to list viewer and item click, and then navigate to this part, navigate to cactus. That is basically what you need to do. But there's a lot of items, so you cannot just click any item and go to cactus. You need to put if condition. I will do an if else one, if do one, sorry, if the item is equal to cactus. For that we are going to use a logic block like this, and then we are going to put item if the item is equal to cactus. So to say cactus, we are using a text box. Okay, so if the item is cactus, it will go to the cactus screen. So you can copy this entire thing again, and you can say if the item is equal to anthurium, you can go to the anthurium screen, but there is no anthurium screen, so I will just put cactus there also. So whatever you press, you'll go to the cactus screen. Okay. Okay, so that is basically how it works. So if you want to do anthurium screen, you can like add another screen. Let's do that. Anthurium screen, and that's it. You can select anthurium. Actually, there's one thing that I forgot in the cactus screen. So you can see in the home screen now I can put anthurium screen. It should refresh in a little bit. Just delete this block and take it again. Okay, so it shows anthurium. Okay, so basically that is what we need to do in the home screen. That is basically it, right? And the thing I forgot earlier is that these screens, if you go to them, they cannot be like a black hole and like trap you in the screen. So you need to have a way to go back, right? So I'm just going to put a button right here, and it's going to say, it's actually better if we put it here. No, here, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, so this one is going to say back, and I'm going to put like a arrow and say back. This one also, it does not need to be very flashy, so I'm going to make the text a bit smaller, and then I'm going to make it the color gray, and I'm not going to have this box outline, so I can just make it transparent. So yeah, this is basically like a transparent button. Yeah, I'll just keep it here. Okay, so the same back button I will paste to the anthurium screen. This one also I will paste to the anthurium screen. This one also I will paste to the anthurium screen and make it as anthurium. Okay, cool. I'm not really sure if that's how you spell anthurium, but never mind. Okay, so basically this is what we are going to do. We're going to go here, and we are going to go to the cactus screen, and we are going to configure these other blocks. So in the cactus screen, we have the top, we don't have to do anything except we have to configure the back button, right? So if you go to the back button, which is the only button there, so I did not rename it, you can just open the button, and when the button is clicked, very simple, you go to control, navigate to the home screen, right? And then you can copy the entire thing to here, anthurium screen. I don't know what these things are, I can just delete them. Okay, and here it's called button 2. So yeah, basically you click that, go home, click this, go home. So now you can see in the app if it works. So let me connect my phone again, so I can demonstrate in the app. Until then we can proceed with the character screen. In the character screen you saw something called the web weaver, right? So what are we going to do with the web weaver? It's very simple. Once again, basically we are creating a web page from that magic block server. So to receive that web page we are just going to open it. That's basically it. So we have opened it already from here, right? We have opened it already. Like you have given the URL as cactus, this one /cactus. So we'll see how to create this one in a little bit. Okay, so here what we do is we go to web weaver. Sorry, oh, not this one, not this block. Actually, we can directly go into the cactus screen. So when the cactus screen opens, what we need to do is we can directly go to the web weaver and just reload it. It's already loading first and we just need to reload it, but we cannot reload it forever, like repeatedly. We just need to wait as well. So we are adding a wait block. We say just wait 5 seconds and then reload the website. Why do we do that? Because our values need to get updated while we are looking at the screen also, right? So it cannot just go to the web page first. Like this web page should be updated, right? Okay. Okay, so that is basically what we are going to do. So now we can actually see that web page. Let me see if okay, so since I have not configured this one yet, I cannot see the application yet. So once I configure, give me a minute to configure this one. So you will see how to use this Magic Blocks platform and how to connect your Magic Bit and things like that in tomorrow's session. So I'm not going to cover this in this session. Basically what you need to do is like go to portal.magicbits.io and then create an account, and it will you can connect your ESP32 using going to the device manager and then go to add device, and then you can give a name for your device. It will appear here, and then you can go to the settings icon, you can click next, you can give your Wi-Fi name and password, and then it will yeah, I'm not going to configure again because my one is configured already, and then it will let me start the playground first. Okay, so you might not understand this right now, but later you can see like okay, sorry, but later you can like understand how this one actually works after tomorrow's session. Okay. Okay, so this is the thing that we are going to be building. I'm just going to give you a brief idea of how to do everything. Basically, like once you have configured your device should show the Wi-Fi logo if it's a Magic Bit, but otherwise, like if it's a ESP32, you won't be able to see if it's connected or not, but you can see from here. I will tell you how to see from here. Okay, so now this one is working. Okay, cool. So I will create a new flow. This is the screen that you will see when you come to it. First of all, what you need to do is like you need to put a inject block. What this one does is like it continuously give a pulse. So we are going to give a pulse of like 1 second. So basically ඒ ටික මම සිංහලෙනුත් කියන්නම්. මේ මේකෙන් කරන්නේ අතරම නිකන් අර නිකන් pulse එකක් දෙනවා තප්පරෙන් තප්පරේට එයා සිග්නල් එකක් දෙනවා ඉස්සරහින් තියෙන බ්ලොක්ස් වලට. මේ ඒක නිකන් අර වෙලාව තියාගන්න වගේ තමයි අපි ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. ඒක සප්පන තප්පෙට දෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ done. ඊට පස්සේ අපි දෙන්නේ මොකටද? අපි දෙනවා අපේ DHT11 sensor එකට. DHT11 sensor එකේ තියෙනවා options තුනක්. මෙතන ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ device එකයි pin එකයි හරියට දෙන්න ඕනේ. So you have to give the device name and the pin name here, and then you can there are some other properties as well. So this one we are going to be measuring temperature and humidity both, right? So that is how we are going to configure it, and then we are going to directly send it to a we are actually going to do something. Let me go to the whole flow here. This is the whole flow. We are actually going to set a variable, like we came across this term as variable, so in the previous application as well. So we are going to set a variable to the value that is output from the DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor. Okay, so DHT11 is a blue sensor that you saw in the presentation earlier. So it's this one. Wait, let me show you again. Okay, this blue sensor. So this one, and then soil moisture and LDR is also connected. So let's see how to connect those things also. Okay, I will go to the flow one, and then we are going to use this analog in block to get an input, and we are going to use two of them. So first one, we'll get the input from the light dependent resistor that will actually help us to determine the light. So you can connect it to any pin if you are using ESP32, but in the magic bit it's pin 36 and it's already marked, right? Okay, so that is basically it that we are going to do. And then we go to this one, the second analog in block, which will configure our it's actually connected to my pin 32. So I'm just going to select pin 32 for the soil moisture sensor, and I'm going to clear the device. Okay, so here also you can give a name, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so next block we are looking for is we are going to look for change block. Okay. So assigning a variable, we use this change block which says set message dot payload. Actually we are not going to use that. We are going to use set flow dot temp so temp is a variable that we are going to create. So this is the thing that we are going to do basically here, because in the DHT11 sensor it gives two outputs called as payload.temperature and payload.humidity. So we are going to assign payload.temperature to temp. Okay, save, and then we are going to copy this one, and I'm gonna put one for humidity as well. Alright, easy as that. Okay, so we can just leave it like that, and these blocks we actually have to use something called a map, right? Because these analog in values give a value between 0 and 4095, right? That is 2 to the power 12, yeah. So it gives a value between that, so we have to map it to a value that we can actually use. So if you go here, I will just name it as LDR in, that means LDR input, that means this one I will call it soil in. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to map this one using this range block. It says the input range should be from 0 to 4095, which is the maximum that it can go to, and the output I'm going to convert it into 0 to 100. I'm going to display it as a percentage. The light maximum value will be 100, like lowest value will be 0. So I'm going to use the same thing for this one. The same from 0 to 4095, converted into 0 to 100. So it's just mapping the value. and then we are going to use this same thing. Once again we are uploading a variable. Oh sorry, this one is actually uploading to humidity. I'm just going to create a variable called humidity. Okay, so this one will be the soil, right? So I will name it as soil, and I'm just assigning the payload. I mean, it does not give any specific value, so like temperature, humidity, it just gives a message payload from this block, right? Payload means the message that proceeds through each of these blocks. So from this, the payload is the value from the analog in of the soil sense, right? Then it gets mapped. So it's originally a value from 0 to 4095, and then it gets mapped to 0 to 100. ඒක සිංහලෙනුත් explain කරොත් අපි මෙතන කරලා තියෙන්නේ මුලින්ම මේ වගේ අර මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ pulse එකක් දෙනවා. pulse එකක් දෙනවා අපි sensors තුනක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා. පළවෙනි එකෙන් කරන්නේ temperature එකයි humidity එකයි මයින්නවා. ඒ දෙක අපි කෙලින්ම මේ flow variable කියලා දෙකකට flow.temp සහ flow.humidity flow.hum කියලා sensors දෙකකට අපි මේ variables දෙකකට අපි assign කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක assign කරලා තියෙන විදිහ මෙහෙමයි. මේක ඔයාලට ඕන message payload.temperature කියලා assign කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ මේක message payload.humidity කියලා assign කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ අපි LDR එකට ගියොත් ඒක 0 ඉඳලා 100 වෙනකන් තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක අපි assign කරලා තියෙනවා flow. මේක ඇත්තට light කියලා එකක් හදලා දාන්න. ඒක payload.humidity නෙමෙයි payload එකම assign කරනවා. payload කියන්නේ මේකෙන් මේ එකින් එකට pass වෙන message එක. හරිද? මෙතන ඉඳන් මෙතෙන්ට pass වෙන message එක 0.4095 අතරගයක්. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක අපි 0.100 අතරගයකට හරවනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මෙතෙන්ට 0.100 අතරගයක් යනවා. ඒකට අපි කියනවා message payload එක කියලා. හරිද? ඒ එකින් එකට pass වෙන ගේට. හරි. දැන් අපි මේ ටික හදලා ඉවරයි. එතකොට අපිට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ උඩ ටික හදන එක. උඩ ටික හදන්න අපි ඇත්තටම මේ අපිට ලේසියෙන්ම සයිට් එකක් හදාගන්න පුළුවන් මේකේ මේ HTTP block එක පාවිච්චි කරලා. අපි මේකට කියනවා HTTP endpoint එකක් කියලා. හරිද? endpoint එකක් හදන්න අපි මේ block එක පාවිච්චි කරනවා. අපි ඒකෙන් කරන්නේ මේක මේ get කියලා set කරලා මේ විදිහට ඒක වෙනස් කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. URL එකට දානවා අපේ variable එක. අපි cactus කියලා දාන්නම්. මම cactus කියලා page එකක් තමයි හදන්නේ. එතකොට ඔයාලට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ ඔයාලා මේ cactus කියන වචනේ පස්සේ එන්න තැන බලන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so you will get to see like why I put cactus here in a little bit. We can proceed. Okay, so next we are going to use the template block. So template block is usually used for formatting. So you can see in this site we have like these very big letters, soil moisture, humidity, like there's a certain format, right? These values come into place, so that is made from the template block. Okay, so I am not going to type the entire template block again. I'm just going to copy this one. So you can also maybe copy from the presentation, or you can like type your own if you are like following different application. Of course you will not be building this one, so you might be needing to type it again. So I'm just going to copy it from my previous example. Sorry, not there. Okay, so what this basically does is it sets the font size to 400%. That is like 4 times bigger than it usually is. And I have also added the units like the percentage mark and the Celsius for the temperature, and another percentage mark because they are displayed out of they're displayed out of 100, right? So that is why I have used the percentage mark. Okay, so we are done, and then we are going to I will show you how to make this site in a little bit. So when we are accessing this site, what happens is like this one gets triggered and it gives the signal to this one, and this one will actually give the response. This one will decide like what is displayed in the site, right? So to actually make that as a response, we have to use another block called HTTP response. Okay, so that is basically it. That is all that we need to put. Okay. For the status you can put 200, but it will work without 200. Like 200 is actually the success status code, like status code for when the get request was successful. Okay, so this is basically all we need to do, and finally we need to hit deploy, but I am going to disable all of these blocks. I will just disable this flow, otherwise two things will be happening. Okay, so then you can deploy it, and then when we refresh this page, you can see actually my physical setting is like not set so far. That is why the variables are not appearing, but you can see, like you were able to see before, like how it would look like if it was actually connected. Right now it's like not actually connected to my laptop, so that's why it's not showing. Well, let me actually connect it and see if I can show you. I will also give you guys a copy of this block, so you can just directly paste it, and if you paste it, what you need to change is like just the device ID. Okay, everything else will be configured, and you might want to change the pins, right? You might not connect it to the same pins that I have done, so if you connect to the same pins, you don't have to change, right? Okay. Let me just put cactus one just in case, like if the other thing also is working. Okay, so I can show you the app side as well. So let me connect the application side so you can give you a small demonstration. Okay, so now my device is connected, so that is why you start seeing all of these values. So you can see there's a lot of decimal places here, right? So what I forgot to do was, like, I had to click this one to round result to the nearest integer, otherwise all these decimal places will be displayed in our application. So this one also can round. Okay, so basically that is what happens. Every time you make a change, you have to deploy it to take effect. Okay, so cactus one. Okay, so how do you make that variable? So I have been postponing to teach you that for a long time now, but right now we can get to it. So you need to deploy, like once you deploy, these things will be saved, right? If you don't deploy, if you see like a blue icon here, if you go to a different page, these things will be lost. So make sure you deploy first before going to another page from here. So now I can go to home, and then I can see the link of my server. That is this one, c4.magicblocks.io.3335 3335, that is the link of my server. So I am going to copy that one, and I am going to paste it in a new tab, right? And then I am going to put the cactus one. I put cactus one because we can identify it from my previous example. Sorry, I think I have to use cactus. Just give me a second to figure out. I think it's because both of these are working. So let me just delete one flow. I think that is the only option, but these things are identical, so it does not really matter what I delete. So I'm just going to delete this one. No, I think I will delete this one because you can double click on here and you can delete it from there. Okay, now I will deploy. Sorry, you have to put it here. Okay, now it's on track. So light 1%, soil moisture 0%, because my soil sensor is just on the table, it's not in soil, so that's why it says moisture 0%. Humidity is 60%, and light is 1% because it's actually very dark. So let's say I shine my torch onto the light sensor, it will increase. If I reload the page, you can see 73. So why this temperature is not coming? Let's see what is wrong with temperature. here you can see here it's coming to the DHT11 sensor. Flow the temp, it's getting updated, and flow.temp is here. Let's try to figure out where it went wrong. So if something does not go on, oh, I have misspelled it. For that, I think what we can do to avoid that is like you can put a debug node here. So it will show you how exactly the format is coming. So if I deploy, yeah, see, if I were to copy it from here, I would not have done that mistake, right? So I would also recommend you to actually see the format first using the debug node and do it here. Okay. And then if we deploy and we reload the page, you can see it should work right now. It's still connecting. You should be able to see the values here. Let's give it a minute to connect. Okay, now let's give the page a reload, and yes, as expected you can see, and if I shine the light again you can see the light level will increase. It will take some time to update though. Until then we can directly go to the app and finish off, right? So our web weaver's URL needs to be corrected to cactus1, so because that is what we used. In design, you go to WebWeaver and go here and you put 1, that's it. Okay, cool. So let me try to show you the app again. So the scales and the text in the WebWeaver here will be different from what you see in the app. So in the app it looks the correct size, but here it looks like very big, right? So let me actually show you how it works in the app. Okay, so we are in the app. Yeah, this is how it works. And if I click the back button, you go to this nice home screen, and then if you press cactus, it goes to here, and it will show the values. Oh, it has not updated. Just give me a second. If your app does not live update, you have to like go back and come again, then it will be updated. Or it's still not updated, then you might want to close the app and then open it again. Okay, so now you can see it's updated. And it gets updated every 5 seconds, so that is why it disappears and comes back. Okay. So basically that is the app, that is the second app that we are going to make. And if you go to Anthurium page, you can see it's blank because I don't have Anthurium plant configured yet. So if you go to the cactus page, you can see it works, right? And I don't think I have the back button configured also, so that is why it does not go back. Okay, never mind. If you go back from here and you can open the app again. Wait. You can go to cactus and you can see the information below it. Okay, so that is basically it guys for this session, and let's go back to the presentation. I will send you the presentation as well, so you can follow the steps yourself. And final thing I want to mention to you guys is like, if there is any question, you can type in the chat. I mean, we are already over time by 15 minutes, but we built 2 full Android applications today, so that's worth it, right? Yes, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat. I will stay for a couple of minutes, and if not, we can go to the next session, which is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Same as today. So it will be on the applications of IoT using Magic Blocks basically. Okay, so while making the, we have a question. While making the cactus screen, can we replace the image of the cactus with a live video of an actual plant? Yes, of course you can do. there's actually a tool called camera. Like you can use this one, photo from camera, or you can actually go to here and you can see video, right? You can use this video, this one. Or if you want to let's say use a security camera, a CCTV camera, something that can give you a live video feed into a website or something like that, then you can use the web viewer and set that URL, which is I think would be my recommended way to do it. So let's say you have IP camera or something, you set it to a plant, and then your IP camera will have a link that you can go to and watch the video feed, and then you put a web viewer and then you access that URL, simple as that. So web viewer can process any website, whether it's like a video or whether it's images, Google images. You can actually make this a like a web browser also. Like if you have a text box to include the URL and set the web viewer's URL, you can make a browser by yourself, very simple. Right. So like that you can do. Yeah, you can actually, like, you will need a camera and you will need IP camera mostly. If you want to use your phone's camera, you can use the camera blocks here. Yeah. But then you will have to allow the permissions and everything. So yes, is there any other questions? And there's a lot of extensions that you can use, and oh, I forgot to show you one thing, which is if you go to YouTube, I'm just going to search it here, Thunkable. Yeah, this is the Thunkable YouTube channel. I will post the link in the chat.
At Thunkable, we are
and you can go to playlist, and there's a lot of tutorials on how to use Thunkable. There's a lot, like hundreds and hundreds of tutorials on different things that you can do with Thunkable. And what I told you is like just tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of things that you can do, a lot of IoT applications. So final message I want to give you guys is like yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and good luck on your submissions. We are really hoping to see them very soon. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. So that is it. I'm going to end the stream right here, and yeah, have a good night. See you tomorrow.